Okay, let me talk to you directly. Do you see a man who's hyper independent as unattractive, or do you see that as toxic? A guy who's hyper independent.
I would say.
Because I'm hyper independent.
Yeah.
So would you consider then that I'm toxic then?
I would say it is a toxic trait, but it's something that you can work on.
But I don't think we see it as much as a negative thing. I don't think we see it as negative in a man as much as we see it in a woman.
It is, because you can't accept like reciprocation. So if you was to do something for a lady you was with or whatnot, and she wanted to reciprocate, it'll be difficult for you to.
I don't like
there we
anyone
go,
doing
right? But
anything.
that's selfish, because you give but don't allow the person to love you back, and that could be a problem.
I'll tell you what it's for me though, is that I'll tell you why it's for me. Maybe I need to get over the fact that when I've done things for people, especially women in the past, it's never been something they've done off being genuine. It's always been thrown in my back like, I did this for you, I did that for you.
Yeah.
So I just don't want you to do anything for me.
Yeah.
But I think looking at a hyper independent woman, do you know what's funny? I think it's probably only men who would have a problem with that.
What do you mean don't have?
Okay, I think for a lot of men, I think a hyper independent woman is someone who they can't throw their weight around. Because I think sometimes we like to be able to have the power and control over women.
Okay.
And when they're hyper independent, we can't do that because they're not dependent on you. So you can run amok. Whereas when a woman has and doesn't need you in that sense, you almost think, well, like, so.
I think to
the
a
women
degree.
that have, but they're not hyper independent, but they know how to set boundaries and a clear standard that this is my standard. If you don't meet it, I'm removing myself. So instead of just assuming that people say that, we say that common sense is not common to common people, but the thing is, my common sense is based on my past experiences and how I was brought up, and someone else's is different. So now you're coming together, you need to communicate your expectation. Once that expectation is not being regarded or is being crossed, then you remove yourself from the situation. Because a lot of the time we like to say that, people are doing this to me, that to me, but what are you allowing? So instead of just always expecting people to be at a certain standard, communicate it. When the communication is not being regarded, remove yourself. Instead of getting upset when people don't do things you expect them to do without actually telling them what you want them to do.
When you okay, I think 'cause I think you teach people how to treat you, and that's by what you accept.
Yeah.
I think that's a given. But I just think when you talk about, I'm trying to think of the traits that we don't. What traits can you think of that can be hyper whatever that is in a woman and a man that we both like to see in both? Because we say that that hyper independency is bad for a man and woman, and we say that if a man's hyper independent, it's negative.
I'll say the perseverance, the people that just push through everything no matter what. That is something that it is boosted up within women as well as men sometimes.
Could that be seen as stubborn? Someone who perseveres. Because I don't know what the difference is.
I think when you couple the wrong traits together, it can create something that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like you make the wrong concoction. Like if you add in like what you said about hyper perseverance and stubbornness. If you add in something like a lady who may have had suffering in her past, who may have be in survival mode, she might just be stuck on this is the way I'm going and you can't change me. And if you're not on this ship, then bye bye. That can be a problem. But on the other hand, if you've got a woman who you can say is in her feminine era, in soft life and stuff, being hyper persevering and stuff might make her more tolerant of you and stuff that you do, and more willing to persevere through relationship challenges that you guys may have. So it depends on how you mix it, and it depends on the openness of the person as well.
Yeah. When would you say protecting your mental health becomes negative?
Funny, you literally said something as well. When we talk about boundaries, and then people are like, okay, when this thing happens, I'm just cutting the person off. But you're not having conversations, and you're not also, like, sometimes some people are trying, but then they might take some more time to get, like, to fully grasp something or be able to do it. But as long as you see they're putting in the effort. Because I was working with someone the last time, and she was asking me, okay, so we're kind of talking about breaking the cycle of toxic relationships. So I gave her some qualities within like a man to consider, and then she was like, okay, so what should I look out for him to say, for me to know whether he's right or not? And I was like, you can't just look out for one thing. Sorry. Like, I can't tell you what to look out for. Like, based on your values and what is in alignment, if it's in alignment with that, then you can go ahead. If not, then you go your own way.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we're looking for someone else to tell us what's right or what's wrong. Knowing what your standard is and how to uphold yourself to the standard as well when it comes to other people.
When would you say it becomes negative though? Is it possible to protect your mental health too much?
Yeah, when you're just cutting people off and when you're not given the space to actually communicate and have that discord, so you're inadvertently avoiding confrontation.
Okay.
Because it's like, I'm just protecting my peace, but confrontation needs to happen.
Even that's a real bad thing.
But then I think you develop, correct me if I'm right, it's like avoidant attachment.
Yeah, so you start to
Hey, so I'm good at this stuff, you know. Jeez.
I'll give you that. Because I think a lot of people avoid confrontation.
Yeah.
Because it just can't be bothered. And some people just avoid confrontation because I'm trying to think what that is.
You get too used to the
it's
silence.
another style. So people pleasing is a way to avoid confrontation.
Yeah.
So I'll just agree with you so that we don't have to have a confrontation, because I feel like you might leave or you might not want to be friends with me because I've disagreed with you. And now what people are doing is that they're saying they're protecting their peace, but they're just doing that by not actually speaking up for themselves or having those uncomfortable conversations. So you're just writing someone off without actually trying to resolve it. So you're not trying to fix the problem. You're just running away from it in another way.
So then something with yourself. So what I mentioned, but you get too used to the silence. So with yourself now, you're an independent man. You're hyper independent. Like any person that comes into your life is gonna be noise, regardless of whether they're super positive or super negative. It's gonna be some sort of discomfort. So if your tolerance is so low to the point where you're throwing out everyone, you're not gonna.
Yeah, my tolerance is very low.
There we go. So you get too used to the silence.
But I think a lot of it has come from the stress and chaos of outside of relationships with people, whether it's man, woman, mum. I'm very irritable. Like, yeah, I don't have much brain space for things. And that's because my brain is filled up with so much rubbish right now. So that's where my negative part comes in, is where the moment something doesn't seem right or something seems like it's challenging me or bothering me, I'm just like, you know what? Like, let me just...
But that's why I said there's different variants of people. So let's say, for example, now, let's say you sold all your business, for pure example. You might open up the brain capacity to have a proper relationship. But that's what I'm saying, where this version of Gabriel, maybe that's not possible. Maybe it's not feasible because it's too much. So at different stages of life, you've got tolerance to different things. So then I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to you making decisions on what is priority in your life. Is it progress in your career, or is it, do I want to settle down and have a family?
But then, sorry to cut you.
Go on.
It's also a thing where you have to be able to make that decision to be vulnerable, to be in a space where you might possibly be hurt.
Yeah.
Because
this is why he's toxic. This is why. I brought you here to. We need to fix.
No, because going back to the thing of receiving gifts.
Vulnerable.
Yeah.
Impossible.
Because there's always...
That's only to my boys. Impossible. Not a woman, impossible.
But you're going to get married to a woman if you want to get married.
One off man, I'm joking.
whoa, dog.
Vulnerable, but that's my thing, is that feminine side that women say they want.
Yeah.
Like, be vulnerable, open up to me, let me know, you can cry with me. You're bluffing. You are bluffing.
But that's love. That's love.
The only time a woman will see me cry is
love.
when a loved one passes away. Other than that, my woman will never see me cry.
Okay, so when you're frustrated, how do you let out your frustration?
I don't know my frustration. I either go to the gym, I binge on snacks or sugary stuff. Back in the day, it would be women.
Yeah.
So I would go into a place where I just link bare girls, and that would be my way of getting over whatever I'm going through, which is not good, because you're trying to get over something by having someone under you. It doesn't work. It don't work.
Yeah.
It don't work. So that's my toxic way of dealing with stress.
So those are your defense mechanisms and your coping mechanisms when it comes to you being stressed.
Typically snacking, typically going to the gym. But the worst thing is that when I'm stressed, sometimes I avoid the gym, which is weird. But yeah, snacking, gym, it used to be women. Like, it used to be really bad. Like, I'd be in a stressed situation, and it'll be one Monday. Just imagine they were just all Ghanaian girls. You know how Ghanaians have different names. So just Afua, Banana, Amma, whatever they call themselves, just Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like that old school 80s song. That's literally me, but I'm happy that I've moved away from that now. Yeah. But I think it's...
So you've not actually addressed the problem? You just found a way to...
mask it, because sometimes the problems that I have, sometimes I think a lot of the problems I have now as an adult are self-inflicted.
But do you know where they stem from?
I think I procrastinate a lot, which is not good. I don't like letting people down.
Yeah.
So therefore, sometimes I do more than I should, which I slow down on that a lot.
People.
Because now I'm very,
Yeah.
you know, which is not good though. And I
Yeah.
think where I'm in stress and chaos a lot, I'm very irritable.
Yeah.
To the gang.
I'm very irritable because my mentality is no one's coming to save me, and I only got time for people who I think can save me.
Yeah.
If I don't think you can help my situation, I'm not being vulnerable to you.
Oh no, 100.
And more time, I'll be honest. When it comes to guys in situations, most of the problems men might have is probably money. And I'm not going to confide with you as my girl if I don't think you can give me 10 bags.
No, but it's not about her being
Oh, babes,
able
I'm really in a
to.
tough time. What's up? Oh, this thing going wrong. I need about 10 grand. Oh.
But it's not about her being
You know
able to
what she's
give
gonna
that
say?
money.
Every day, babe.
Wait.
Are you okay, babe?
Wait. She's gonna say, oh, babe, I think we should book a holiday to Bali.
That might help you. There's no money for it. You're sending me Sky Scanner links. And I think that's just my thing is that, like, if I've got a problem with something, either physically, I might go to a physio and ask for the help.
Yeah.
If I've got a problem financially, I might go to one of my friends who can help me. If I've got a problem emotionally, I might go to my sister who can help me.
Yeah.
If I don't feel you, as my girl, can help me with this situation, why am I burdening you?
So emotionally, why don't you go to your girl instead of your sister?
It depends what it is.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what it is, yeah? I need, and this sounds really bad, I need my woman to see me as the captain and to see me as this pillar. For me to then come to you and start barling about something, I can't do that.
Yeah.
That's wild.
But asking for help doesn't always mean barling. It
No,
might.
sometimes I'm, just because, I think this is the thing about emotion,
Yeah.
I might punch a wall. That's equivalent of someone crying.
Yeah.
It's just an outburst and an outlet. But we think, to me, that's feminine. Like, just
Not
because,
punching a wall.
even punching, someone might see that as being masculine. If I see someone throw a tantrum,
Yeah.
like for instance, when I see someone who's got into road rage and they just flip straight away, I know it sounds bad, but that to me is a feminine trait.
Yeah. So
Someone who just acts on impulse.
No, but the thing is,
And that's what-
sometimes that's your way to regulate. So
That's a bad regulation for me.
That's a bad
no,
regulation.
I don't mean.
Someone cuts you off, you get a car. Roar! That's
No,
feminine.
I
That's
don't mean
that's
that.
not masculine to me.
I don't mean that. I mean sometimes letting out your frustration by maybe shouting, not shouting at someone, but like just shouting into the air, like going into a room by yourself and just doing that. Because what it does is sometimes it like kind of turns on your parasympathetic nervous system, which helps you calm down. Or sometimes it's like deep pressure within, so progressive muscle relaxation, doing that from like top to bottom helps as well. Sometimes pushing into something or like maybe
Squeezing a
punching,
stress ball.
yes, squeezing a stress ball, maybe punching a punching bag. So I'm not saying the erratic one is a good way of self-regulation, but when you do it in a controlled way, is a way to regulate yourself to get that stress out. So when you kind of have those things to help redirect that energy, it helps you not take it out on other people, but put it into a different like space. But then also is a thing where when you're able to do that, you're able to kind of have a release. Because sometimes the things when you cry, you just need the emotional release. After it's like, okay, you know what, I'm starting to feel calm now. And being able to do that, if you have like a partner, you're probably going to be in alignment with like life goals and that type of thing. Yeah, so she needs to be able to add to that.
Yeah,
So
but I'm not going to open up to her though. It's a lie.
It's a scam.
then
the
the thing is, there's not going to be a clear communication.
But when you say vulnerable to me is bearing all. Like you like if I'm upset about something, you ask me how my day is.
Yeah.
More time when, well, obviously I guess with friends, more time when someone says, "How's your day been? How are you?" I don't lie anymore. And even to strangers, I say, not really feeling well, not really feeling good. They're like, oh.
Yeah, they don't know what to say because it's not the norm. It's not the norm.
So and I say to them, so why did you ask?
Yeah.
No, if someone genuinely asks you, how are you?
But they're not asking you to ask you. They're asking you because that's like
But
the.
you don't care to ask me.
Just the whole conversation.
Yeah.
Then think of another opening line. Think of something else.
Nah, the world don't work like that, bro.
Because you don't care. And if I tell you my problem, you're going to help. So what am I going to open up to you?
No, I get it. But something like that is a problem that a lot of people who have like autism and stuff have, because it's a social cue and a social construct that if you go to a shop, hello, how are you? How's your day? They don't care. And like people with like
But
autism
they
and things, they
had to
kind of
teach
see,
themselves,
yeah.
I
And
tell shopkeepers when I go, oh, how are you? Not fine today. Like,
Yeah.
Oh.
they didn't want to know that. They're just asking for the sake of it's all a
Like agree.
yeah. There's a lot of facade.
No, I think everyone should just be honest when people ask that question. Not saying some people are not alright.
Yeah.
Just be honest. How's your day been today? I've kind of fucked.